11 a.m. call. Today we have a special guest here. We're going to speak a little bit about the EMT, the electromagnetic frequency. I'm sorry, EMF, the electromagnetic frequency that can help protect from radiation, 5G, all the bad stuff that's going around. And we just launched this in our product library, guys. So Ron wants to share that with us. We're the first to be notified, and really appreciate you, Ron, giving us this great information. So without further ado, Ron, I'm gonna let you take it away.
Okay, thank you, Manson. Well, last night, I do a company call every Tuesday and Thursday evening, 7 o'clock Mountain Time, and I didn't have this information last night, so you're the first group to hear about this. I noticed when I went into my back office today, into the health food store library, if you will, I know something popped up right away. There's some new ingredients that the company hasn't shared with me. Sometimes they surprise me a lot. And so these are new ingredients. And I saw two of them, and one said 4G and the other one said 5G. And I'm thinking, that's interesting. So then shortly after that, I got some calls from some affiliates who shared with me there's some other new things in there. So I went through the entire library and I found 12 ingredients that are new, that are in there that I didn't know about, and they still haven't told me, but I found them, okay? And when you click on those ingredients, you'll discover these are, every one of them are imponderables, okay? Now, what makes me excited about that, this is something I've been talking to Dr. Cook for some time. The necessity of incorporating imponderables in our library. Oh, now Dr. Cook gave it that name. That wasn't my name. Dr. Cook gave it that name. That I was talking to him about how to include emotional clearing and emotional components to get rid of or normalize emotional baggage that we may have programmed into our subconscious that affects both our health and what appears in our reality. And Dr. Cook called that imponderables, and it's a portion of homeopathy. It's something they learned in homeopathy, and they've given it that name. Well, what Dr. Cook has done, because before we had that discussion over a month ago, before you guys were even around, we had a lot of excited affiliates and members asking the company if we could have some ingredients or a formula, if you will, that address the electromagnetic frequency issues that are happening, particularly with 5G. 5G, when you do the research on 5G, 5G is really at the borderline of microwave technology, and there has not been a lot of studies and tests on it. However, there's enough been done to show that it's damaging to the human biology. And it'd be like you sticking your head in the microwave and turning it on. That wouldn't be good. And so we have, that's an embellished version of that, but nevertheless, day-in-day use of 5G on human biology, there's a lot of tests and studies now by independent groups coming out that that's not good for us and it can cause a lot of problems. In fact, on this whole thing over in Wuhan, the coronavirus, some of the scientists now are stepping forth who are in the know, are saying that the reason why that's significantly worse over there is because Wuhan is the first city that has implemented full 5G. And because it affects biology so negatively, their claim is that it can take the regular flu and turn it into a monster, okay? Which is what is believed going on here with this coronavirus. Now, having said that, and without being able to verify any of that, it certainly makes sense that at the end of the day, the scientists who I've been following on this are basically saying 5G is bad, it needs to be stopped, or maybe we can block it. Okay, so I've had these conversations with Dr. Cook for many months now on electromagnetic frequencies and the harm that may cause to human biology, and particularly most of us are exposed to it through our phones. Now, most of our phones right now are 4G. However, 5G is starting to roll out in different cities. and it requires a number of satellites up in the atmosphere, and it requires a lot of tiny antennas because it only moves a very short distance. But it's microwave frequency range, and it can be very damaging. So we're trying to figure out what can we do to resolve this. Now I put together, it's in on our website, or my website, quantumenergyinfo.com. I have a formula in there called EMF detox. Now that's the best attempt to try to address this issue with nutraceuticals. Nutraceuticals also have value in terms of neutralizing electromagnetic frequencies, and there's particularly ingredients in there like shungite, silver shungite. There's tourmaline. There's a number of them that are detox agents to remove the debris of EMF damage to the cell. So that's the physical nutraceutical way to address EMF. But what Dr. Cook came up with that surprised me when I saw this in here the other night. I went into the library and I saw 4G and 5G. And let me share with you what it says. Okay, first of all, the 4G and 5G is they actually capture that frequency, and when you do an imponderable, it actually works on that differently. Here's what he says. See, imponderables are homeopathic remedies made from energetic sources. Okay, in this case, that'd be the 4G frequency or 5G frequency. And as a general rule, they are used to counter the adverse effects of the energetic source from which they were made from. And so that's basically neutralizing is how I'm picking that up. Now, there are other aspects not addressing this. There are some, although some imponderables have indications beyond clearing. In other words, there's some other values that are there that, we don't understand. A real good example of that, and this is how this whole conversation of imponderables got started, and that was my conversation I had with Dr. Cook some months ago about spontaneous remission. See, I believe, and this is me connecting dots, and my understanding and education on hypnotherapy, which is the ability to know how conscious and subconscious interfaces with each other, as well as quantum physics. And when you look all at that together and you look at and study the ability of people having these abilities to spontaneously heal their bodies, how does that happen? Well, you see, because I've connected all these dots looking at biology, the hypnotherapy, and quantum physics, and when I shared this with Dr. Cook, he saw the value in the logic in that thinking, why I would think that way. And I did this because I woke up right in the middle of the night with a dream that addressed this whole issue, and I shared it with Dr. Cook the next day. And I shared with him, and that's when he came up on that what you're describing is imponderables, and he shared that with me. Well, I look at when I study these people who have had these experiences, I've discovered that when they heal their bodies overnight and they're ready to die, how's that happen? Well, the dots that I connect show that the only way that can happen is you fix something in the hologram, the energetic who we are, and that your biology follows very quickly. And how that happens, understanding my knowledge and training in hypnotherapy, is that the conscious mind pulls out of the subconscious arena, which is connected to the quantum field, whatever it wanted and whatever it needs to pull back in and correct the hologram, and the body healed itself. Now, when you look at a comparison with what we're doing with Olympic Art, we have a restricted sandbox, a restricted library. We're going into a health food store. There's hundreds of items in there, and we're pulling out exactly what we need to balance here. However, we may not have the things in that we need to solve the spontaneous remission thing. And so when we look at imponderables goes on beyond that. This last sentence that Dr. Cook put in here says, although some imponderables have indications beyond clearing, that's what I believe was happening. It's the application beyond our little health food sandbox or health store sandbox that we can go into the realm, the quantum realm, and pull whatever the body's requesting and looking for to bring it back into hologram and put it back into balance. Now, this is me. This is my theories. Okay, I believe that what Dr. Cook has put together in this whole entire system may be a tremendous solution here. So here's the ones that Dr. Cook brought in. Okay, and these are the ones that I found. There's 4G and 5G. Now, the biggest application coming will be the 5G protection, and the intent of that imponderable is to neutralize 5G electromagnetic frequency. That's what EMF is. Okay. Then he's added all these other ones. Now, most of these are energetic in nature, and they do create EMF fields. So he's done a major elaborate job in addressing the EMF issue. And here's what they are. There's 4G, there's 5G. That's the stuff that we deal with every day. We're dealing with 4G on our phones right now. 5G will soon be rolling out, and 5G is from the satellites from up above, so we're getting some of that already. Now, the next one is electricity. I thought that was strange that we have an imponderable called electricity. But when you look at it, when you study EMF, electrical wires that go in buildings and houses and everything actually set up electromagnetic fields. Now, I have, had I remembered, okay, I'm going to show you this the next time we talk. I have a little device, and I'll show it to you. It actually measures electromagnetic frequency in anywhere. I can measure it on my phone, I can measure it in my walls, or anywhere around me, and it'll show what the electromagnetic frequency of anything is. Anything beyond 0.02 is higher than what is found in nature. Most of the, for example, if you went up to a microwave, it would go off the chart because microwave is so high. So electricity, I see that of value because electricity can actually create electromagnetic waves and have ill effects on our body. The next one here is it's called EMF gamma rays. Okay, now these are different. More specific electromagnetic frequency compartments. So he has gamma rays. Then there's infrared. There is microwave, which is real damaging. There's radio waves can even be damaging. Ultraviolet, and then the last one is X-rays. Now these all fit into the family of EMF, and I'm amazed that Dr. Cook went and was so elaborate in all this. So here's what I think. Here's what I think is going to be fun, and I can't wait to do my next info boost or my next voice activated spark scan, because it's going to be interesting to see what my body will select, from that. And see, that tells you if you're being exposed to something that's electromagnetic in nature that your body can't deal with. At least now we're going to identify it with a possible solution to neutralize it.
Wow, that's amazing.
Mansa, it is. It is amazing.
So if you live by the towers or something, you think it'll pick it up? Radiation towers that's pushing out so much radiation and things. You think
absolutely the towers do. Now I have a device that measures that. So I have some towers that are not too far away from me, and if I come in within, I'd say about the width of a football field, I'll start picking up the radiation from those towers. Now I see sometimes homes that are within that boundary, and I know that can't be good for people living in those homes that are close to a big electrical lines like that, because it's emitting an unnatural electromagnetic field that interferes with your electromagnetic field. So it's going to be harmful to your biology. Now, there's something else here that I wanted to share with you. Now, Doctor, when I was going through the library and seeing this, I discovered that Dr. Cook has added three more imponderables that did not fit into the category of in the EMF realm. And I wanted to share that with you too, because I find that very interesting, okay? The first one was jet lag. Now, guys, go into your back office, go into the library, and just find some of these, like jet lag. Well, jet lag, it's to help neutralize the effects of jet lag. Okay, that's what it's for, okay? And he has another one here called Light of Saturn. Now, I don't know how he's created these. I haven't had that conversation with him, but one's called the Light of Saturn. And the Light of Saturn is for enhancing strength and endurance. And I'm thinking, that could be a good one that we would add to energy or focus or, things where we want extra strength. Okay. Now, if I think it was Steve yesterday, Steve, I think if I recall, you talked to me about pH products, related products. Okay. Now we know why, and of course I shared with you that in our other website that Dino and I put together, quantumenergyinfo.com, we have a formula in there called Kick Butt, and the ingredients in there are for, they're heavy ingredients for assisting the body and the people fighting the big C. Okay. Well, I clicked on this next imponderable that Dr. Cook put together, and I was really amazed. And it's got a funny name to it. It's called Moonlight. The name of it's called Moonlight. It's called Luna, Moonlight, and then in parentheses, Luna. But when you click on that, you'll find out that this particular imponderable is for fighting and normalizing acidity in the body. Okay? So that would be a cool one to have to help bring the body back into proper pH balance, is the way I'm interpreting it. And then it also addresses people who have epilepsy, which I find that interesting. You see, years ago I found on some studies where CBD and cannabis actually have the same kind of properties to help minimize or people who have epilepsy, and with really, really good results. Another thing that it shows that it does, it affects people who have headaches to help, remove those, as well as edema if you have bruises or things like that. Sleepwalking. Well, I don't know that everybody has that problem. When I was a younger person, I had a problem with sleepwalking. At least my parents told me that. And then the last one, which I think has more application, and that is to remove parasitic worms in the body. Okay, and that's probably big. All of us have some of that going on. Okay, so anyways, that's a cool imponderable. Now, where this is evolving and why I'm so excited to even see these show up. As I look at the time frame here, I've had conversations with Dr. Cook for 6 months on finding a solution for the EMF problem, because that has been brought to our attention by our members many times, concerned about where this whole 5G is moving, and the new science is coming out to show that it's damaging to biology. Because of that, we've been getting tons and tons of requests on EMF, and I've been passing them on to Dr. Cook and trying to figure out how do we solve this. Well, what he did, as I can see, is that he took this whole imponderable program, which I actually introduced to him in terms of my dream and that whole thing. But anyways, he said, okay, we can address this EMF problem using imponderables. That might be the better solution. And so he's come out first with the imponderables that focused on EMF, because that's always been a big issue with many of our members and those who are in the know about the negative impact of EMF in our lives. Okay. Now, what that tells me, though, and here's why I'm excited. Most recently in the last month, every chance I have with Dr. Cook, I remind him, let's keep on pushing forward with the imponderables, particularly on the emotional applications, because the emotional applications, I believe, are the ones that have the negative programming in our subconscious that creates ill health for us. Okay, and those are the ones I want to address. Well, now that I know he's already done this with the EMF, I suspect the next batch of imponderables on the horizon are going to come with the emotional applications. And I believe that we may have some of the best solutions for biology by combining the botanical solutions with the emotional solutions that really address the whole aspects and getting to the root of why we have illness and disease in our bodies. So I'm excited about that, because I know that if we address this and do this properly, the impact it's going to have in biology.
Wow, that was major right there.
Super
Thank
amazing.
you for sharing that with us, because EMF is the biggest problem we have surrounding us, and that 5G is just going to take it to a whole nother level. People don't understand the damage that's causing and it's going to cause going down in the future here.
Right, and you said it can make viruses like the flu turn into a monster. That's huge.
Yeah, these are independent studies I'm getting from scientists around the world who are looking at this, and this is their. Now you have to understand that myself, Dr. Cook, Olympic Art, none of us can ever make claims that any of these things do anything, okay, because we're not allowed to do that. So just understand that these are designed for the intent of resolving these issues, but we can't make any claims that they do, okay? Just like anybody out there selling anything, you know, that's the restrictions we're placed under.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I'm enjoying.
Hey,
this.
I wanted to make a comment. This is for Steve. Hey, Steve, has anybody ever told you you look like Chris Rock?
Yeah, a lot of people tell me that.
You look like Chris Rock.
Okay. Well, hey, all you have to do is get funny, and maybe you could pull that one off.
Oh my God!
You're not laughing. How come?
I turned my mic off. I was laughing, but I didn't want to laugh too hard. Because it used to be normal, you know, what people used to tell me, you look like Chris Rock. And when you get to know me, I am pretty funny, and that's another reason why.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Having too much fun here, guys. We're having too much fun in the Hangout Q&A. We want to hear some Q&As going on now. Anybody got any questions? Welcome, Ahmed, to the call.
Ron, did you say that that's available right now, right away?
It's in your back office right now.
Okay.
Wow.
Yep. Hey guys, hold on for a second. I'm gonna go grab my electromagnetic monitor, just so that I can show it to you. And
Okay.
just take me a minute.
Okay. You got gadgets over there. We got to get our
He's
gadget.
that real mad scientist. He don't mess around.
We got to get our gadget game up. We got to have some tools and stuff.
We got to have tools too, man.
Right?
Man, he's like Batman, man. Where does he get those wonderful toys?
Right. You got toys, gadgets.
Or like in Back to the Future with all those crazy gadgets that he has that he made.
Right.
Emmett Brown.
What kind of gadgets you got over
Okay.
there, Ron?
I have a bunch of them. I can do show and tell for an hour. I have a whole lot of different gadgets. Okay, here's one here. This is called the EMF. And you'll see it's moving right now. Okay, as I get it closer,
Come up a little
you see it's going high. You see the numbers on there. 0.02 is normal. So because I have it next to the my screen here in the computer real close, it's picking up the radiation from the computer, and so it's you know, go to 5. So if you're by that all day, in and out, like when I bring it back to where I'm sitting, I'm in the safe range, but right next to it's real high. Now if I put this up to my microwave, it actually goes right off to the top. Okay, so when I'm walking around, I can put this up to walls. And even the electricity that goes through walls, it will pick up on that and show you what it's at. So it's basically saying electromagnetic fields that are not natural are harmful to the body. Now, this particular device here, what is normal is 0.02. And if you're walking out in a forest or in a field or something, that's what you get, 0.1, 0.2. Anything beyond that is artificial electromagnetics. When I put it up next to my phone, well, you can't see that.
Maybe if you show the screen and put the phone behind it.
Let's see.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah, it's going up.
Oh,
See there?
wow.
Those are whole points going up.
Yeah.
How bad the phone is, huh?
Oh, phones are the
Hey,
worst.
so when you're seeing the phone, when you're holding the phone next to you, I always hold it away a little bit. When you put it up to your ear like most people do, you're radiating your brain. And there's a lot of science out there showing that we have a lot of people who are having tumors in their brain, and it's right where they hold their phone by their ear. And it causes mutations to the cells. And so this device here is a device that I bought some years ago when I was, evaluating this stuff, and to evaluate, what kind of phone you should buy, and And then I discovered, geez, everything around has artificial electromagnetics. So when we see Dr. Cook has put together this imponderable series with all these different types of EMF, we are being inundated without knowing what's happening. In fact, many of us could have health problems associated with overexposure to unnatural electromagnetics. And most of our exposure for most of us are through our phones, our computers, and we might be living in, we could have fluorescent light bulbs above our head or something, or in an office environment. There's number of things that do that. And so I think it's really exciting. I mean, this is really a big thing to have an EMS imponderable ingredient to help normalize that and have that running on us all the time. Now, what I'm most excited about, and I can't do another voice-activated spark scan for 5 more days because I'm pretty religious in keeping mine running 10 days. I'm going to be excited to turn it on and see if my body will select any of these. And what that would tell me, the way I'd read it, that would tell me if I am being overly affected health-wise or my biology being affected by any type of electromagnetics. We have a lot of people out there that have all these issues, and some of the scientists, as they're doing their, clinicians, they're finding out, geez, we checked everything, we can't find anything, and all of a sudden they find it's the electromagnetics that they're exposed to. People who are like sleeping in a bed in the next wall over, there's an outside electricity meter, because they have little devices on it that actually send out frequencies to the company in terms of how they read the meters. They're smart meters, okay? They put off a lot of electromagnetics. The wiring that you have in certain walls, when you have a lot of them come together, actually put off an artificial field of electromagnetics. If you happen to be sitting or sleeping next to a wall, you don't know what's in there, you could be negatively affected. And so, and phones, of course, are the big ones, and computers are big ones. And even driving down the road, when you come across, the big power lines and everything, guaranteed you're being radiated. If you had my little device where you're driving through that, and I've done it many times, you'll see it jumps really high. So if you lived in an environment like that, there's a lot of research that people who live close to big power lines have a much higher incidence of cancers. Okay. Again, anything that's unnatural that forces biology in a certain direction can cause this. So that's the reason why I'm so excited to see that Dr. Cook's now put together an entire line of electromagnetic frequency ingredients that, at least on the homeopathic side, historically have been used to neutralize whatever they pick up. So these are designed so Dr. Cook, when he created this, he had to be exposed to these exact things, set up an imponderable that actually neutralizes the actual issue. So go in the back office, you'll see when you click on them, read the language here, explains exactly what's happening.
Yeah, and people don't realize that all of these electronics that we use around us emit high, frequencies of damage to us, because they're either emitting it out or they're receiving it in. So it's coming in and out to all of these devices. And especially when they're plugged in, people don't understand the damage of when you have your phone on your ear and it's plugged in, that's 10 times the damage of the radiation because it's powered, right? And people get a red face and do all this. I see all these crazy things on Facebook. You should never, ever put your phone to your head when it's plugged in. I never put it, period. I use earbuds, or I use, Bluetooth, or I use speakerphone. I never, not even 1% of my life, ever put my phone on the ear. It might be 1%. There's only times that I need to, but it's bad.
We'll get you some of these, for the most part.
And microwave actually changes the composition of our food and our blood. Microwave food.
Yes, that's true. Microwaves are used in wars.
Hey guys, let me share with you another. I don't know if you know this. So there was a study I read it was years ago. So they took regular water. Okay, they had 2 plants that were equally healthy. Okay, and they took regular water, the source of water, and they'd water both of the plants with, and of course they were okay. Then they decided, let's take the water source and let's microwave that water. Okay. Then we'll use the microwave water only to water one plant. They're both the same now. We're going to use regular water in one plant and microwave water in the other. Now, of course, they let it cool down and everything, but then they did that. And after a period of, I think it was a few weeks, and the microwave source water caused the plant to die.
Wow.
Now, they didn't get into the reasons why that might be happening, but the fact that they used microwave water, which is, should be healthy and all that, they used the microwave water as the only source of water for that one plant, and it died very quickly.
It zapped all the life out of the water, killed it.
Exactly.
Just
So,
what happened.
over in Europe,
Food in the microwave, some vegetables or whatnot. It's not vegetables any longer. It is dead.
it changes its molecular structure, and it's not real food. It actually creates carcinogenic chemicals. And over in Europe, they have outlawed microwaves because they know how bad it is.
Yes, my friends that are true health fanatics and true believers, vegans and all that, they never use the microwave they don't even have microwaves in their homes and stuff. They will bake it or heat it in the oven or something natural, more natural than that, but they know the dangers of that and what you guys are talking about. That's real. This is real.
Yeah. Exactly. With this monitor right here, if I walk up to my microwave in our kitchen, without it turned on, when it's turned on, it's even worse. But without it turned on, just sitting there, it actually goes right off the chart.
That's crazy.
Can you buy one of those things that you measure it with at Harbor Freight or something like that?
Yeah, you probably can. I'll tell you what this is. This is I bought this many years ago. It's made by Sperry, A.W. Sperry, okay? And it was, I remember back then it was like $200. I don't know what it is today. But it's just a little field tester that measures radiation all around you. And I've had it for years, and it just has really come in handy.
It's an EMF tester?
Yeah, it says right on it, EMF field testing.
Okay.
Yeah, and it says electromagnetic field radiation tester.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll probably be pretty expensive now. They don't want you testing it.
Well, I don't know. It still might be in the same. Sometimes electronics even come down.
Yeah, especially Harbor Freight will have something very affordable.
What about like Home Depot or Lowe's?
And I don't think, I've never seen any of that there. You have to go to a scientific company that does scientific instruments. You can Google it on the internet and you'll find them. I think a couple of years ago I looked at that, and I think they're still around $200.
I'm sure Amazon has them.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Everything. You looking right now?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna look right now. Hang on.
Just give us the data on that, would you, Matthew?
You might even be, who knows,
yes,
maybe they'll even come down in price.
Well, I know the mask went up in price. You seen that? It's ridiculous. They probably sold out on Amazon right now.
There's probably no
Face
supply
mask?
for the demand.
Yeah, it's like, and they went up.
Oh, here we go. They're not that expensive.
Awesome.
There's some that are 35. There's some that are 168, 120.
Okay.
So, yeah, they're pretty cheap.
Good. So
I think I bought mine when they were just inventing electromagnetics.
Got early, huh? Okay. Do we have any other questions out here for Ron or anyone?
Was there any other additions besides that?
Again, let me see. Moonlight. No, that was it. There's 12 of them. There's 4G, 5G, electricity, gamma rays, infrared, microwave, radio wave, ultraviolet wave. Then they have jet lag, light of Saturn, moonlight, which is Luna, and then X-rays. So that's 12. Those are the new ones that I saw. What's that?
Those are all the strongest ones right there.
Yeah, those are the new imponderables that were just added yesterday.
Yeah, I meant those fields. All of those the things in that category are all the most powerfully emitted things right there.
That's right. They're different. They're different electromagnetic pollutions, if you will. So, like it says, I think the most exciting thing is when we start doing our next voice-activated spark scans. If our body picks up on any days, and it comes in the top, even 70%, that means that our body is dealing with and trying to adjust to electromagnetic pollution. And I think if you have a real high ranking, in that 90% range, then it's, the idiot light on your dashboard is red now, okay? It's basically saying we got to address that, okay? And so this is really good because this is going to let us know, what's really happening. Now, as we move into this 5G rollout, which you're trying to do worldwide, it may be that we should have it running on us all the time just to help us protect us. But in the meantime, I think it's going to show up on our voice-activated spark scan. If our body is laboring from EMF pollution, it's going to show up in one of these categories. And then we'll know we've got an issue, we've got to address it, and that's when we'll select those ingredients.
Awesome.
That's the greatest part about those custom spark scans, man. It tells you what you need right now and go.
Yep.
Right, and go. Exactly. So that's huge. Can you get us a list of that, Ron? Send it over to me, and I can get it over to the group.
Sure. I just wrote it down here. So after we're finished here, I'll just type it up and send it over to you.
Amazing.
Now they're in alphabetical order.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, we like stuff in alphabetical order. That's why it's easier to find, It's easier to find one by one versus scattering all up and down the library. So you guys did a really good job on the site too, on the custom booth site.
Yeah, I have some more that I want to put on there yet. I can never get a new one on there that doesn't have some missing ingredients on it, and I've got a couple new ones here I want to put on. I'll get. What's that?
I know we have 400 ingredients ready to go, waiting for Dr. Cook to roll out. Was these some of them by chance?
Well, these are brand new. This is something I think he's just been working on. Yeah, this would be included in that. So, that would be part of that 400. And by the way, that 400 is growing all the time because every week I'm always, because I dedicate a couple, 3 hours a day at least on doing research, and I'm always coming across new stuff that I believe that we don't have in the library, even in the new bucket library, okay? So I'm always adding new ones to that every week.
I have a question. Maybe you'll know the answer to this. It's kind of a question towards Dr. Cook, but you might know because you know a lot of everything else. So I didn't see, I could be mistaken because I looked through the ingredients since they're in alphabetical order. I didn't see soursop in there. Is soursop going to be added in one of the next rounds? Do you know? Because that is the most powerful thing on the planet, especially for cancer, because it kills cancer 10,000 times more than chemo, and it doesn't go after all the cells like chemo does, only the cancer cells.
I going from my memory, because I know most of the ones that are in that new inventory bucket, I remember seeing that in there.
Oh, thank God. We need it.
Nice.
Yep.
That's going to be huge, you guys. If you guys don't know about it, you guys can ask me about it and I'll tell you. That is like the most powerful fruit on this planet.
Yep.
Elaborate a little bit on it.
Well, soursop nectar, right? It's a tropical fruit. It cannot grow in dry environments like around here in the valley. I mean, you can grow it in a greenhouse and things like that, but it comes from like, Mexico, Fiji, like tropical places and stuff like that, Caribbean islands and things like that. And soursop nectar, they found, this has been researched from a long time ago, but when the government tried to replicate it and like, to patent something that was just like it, but it's a natural fruit, so they couldn't replicate it, right? So they gave up the research, and Ron probably knows about this, and abandoned it. And then the people who are the researchers and scientists that were doing the research, they came forward with it, because it's life-saving. And like I said, soursop goes only to the cancer cells. Chemo kills all your cells, and it kills the cancer cells 10,000 times more than chemo. 10,000. That is incredible right there, you guys. Like, and this is real stuff. Like, I always advise everyone that's, you know, trying to avoid cancer or that is getting cancer in the early stages, whatever stage it's in, to drink soursop nectar, not juice. It can't be, you know, any kind of preservatives, any kind of unnatural things. Soursop nectar is just soursop nectar, cane sugar, and filtered water, you know, and Sun Tropics has it by the half gallon. And I tell everybody that's going down that path with cancer or, you know, bad, you know, symptoms of it or in it, you know what I mean? So if I knew that when I was doing what I was doing, I would have went that way, you know, first, you know what I mean? Because natural is the best way, you know what I mean? Nobody, trust me, nobody wants to go through chemo or radiation if they don't have to. You don't.
Wow, it's amazing. Thanks for sharing that, Steve. I'm glad.
Yeah, what I've discovered, there's a lot of really exciting botanicals that live in the world out there that have similar properties, and most of the ones that work really effectively, like Steve's talking about, they have the ability to generate what's called apoptosis, which actually it turns off. There's a trigger in the cancer cell that it basically programs it not to continue to grow. It's a programmed death of the cell. And so most of the botanicals out there that are really effective have those characteristics.
We have dandelion root in there. I saw that, right? Well, I think it came up on my Spark scan. So that's another good preventative for cancer as well. Dandelion root tea. Just to let you guys know, you know, if you guys are trying to drink things that are beneficial for you, soursop nectar, dandelion root tea are two things that you can get, you know what I mean? Anyone can drink that, and it's going to help prevent things, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep, you bet.
Awesome, awesome. Any other questions, additions, concerns?
Do you know, Ron, about the list that's forthcoming besides the other ones? You said soursop is coming on the next ones. Any of the thing that's major that stood out to you that you're excited about that's going to be released here soon?
You know, I've been sending these over for many, many months, and there's some really cool stuff in there. But you know, I'd have to, you know, I'm going to have George print me off a list of what's there. I had one from many months ago when there was about 250 or so on there, but there's some really cool stuff on there. I'm really excited what's there. There's some really good ingredients in that one on our website, quantumenergyinfo.com, the one, the kick butt formula. There's some really cool stuff in there as well, some ingredients. And then there's that one, the one we have in there, the ultimate, I think, antimicrobial. I actually sent that over to Dr. Cook before he went on his trip, so I could protect himself while he's on the airplane. And they're traditional botanicals have been historically used to you know, fight and stop microbes, which are your fungus and viruses and bacteria.
Is that the
and
one
remember,
for yourself? For
yes,
the asthma? Yeah, that one was the one, right?
Oh no, I didn't use that for asthma. I just, for my asthma, the only thing that I did was the voice activated spark scan, and it just worked on it slower and slower, and pretty soon, after a period of 3 to 4 months, it was totally history. But I did recognize when you start looking at the ingredients, you start seeing common ingredients in there. They're focusing on the safe. I had a lot of respiratory issues in terms of the ingredients, identifying respiratory components, and but the heavy lifter in that whole family was that lomatium, and that's the one that was most telling. But our body knows exactly what's going on, and it might be a combination of things that it needs to solve the problem. When we do our force formulas and stuff, it's man's wisdom and how these are created, and our bodies are a lot smarter than man's wisdom, and so. That's the reason why I think the voice activated spark scan is the very best tool that there is. Now, are you going to see stuff happen overnight? Probably not, but over time you will.
One thing I keep forgetting to check, maybe you know off the top of your head if it's on there in the library or not, is black seed oil. Is that available right now already?
I know it's. You have to go in there and look at it. I know it's in the library. I don't know if it's our current one or the new one, but I've seen it.
Okay, good. Yeah, because that helps, like control mucus and phlegm and those kind of things. And I was looking to take ingestible black seed oil for that because that's part of my problem with allergies. You know what I mean? It's like and skin sinus infections all the time, and that's one thing I struggle with is the mucus from all of that. And I just, for the newest thing I did this week, because I always do things that is going to help aid the processes and what we're doing with quantum energy. So I minus physically what I put orally in my mouth. So I stopped drinking milk a few days ago because that's the biggest problem with mucus and adding to it. And I know that, but it just tastes so good and makes you sleep so well.
You and I are twins because everything you described there, I've had the same. I had to deal with as well.
Yeah,
but you know something. Here's what I've noticed. All the things you're talking about is something I had to deal with over and over and over for many months and even years. And I don't have that today. All that stuff's gone. And the only thing difference is I've been doing this voice activated spark scan. I haven't really adjusted my diet. I should eat a little bit better than, when I was younger, I ate a lot better than I do now. And the only reason I sometimes cheat is because it's fun. But I'll tell
you want a treat? I mean, come on, right? Life is boring.
Exactly. But I'll tell you, the voice activated spark scan has really improved my life. It really has made a big difference.
That's good to hear. So everybody, activate that voice activated spark scan. Let's improve our lives. Let's do it. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording now. Peace and blessings from Master Jamil. We want to thank everybody for showing up and growing up and ranking up and banking up. Let's enhance our health and wellness and see you guys at the top because the bottom is too crowded. Peace.